or record with in those moments. So depending on what your strength is, the seeing, the hearing, the feeling, or the thinking and sensing. For me, I get a lot done on when I'm flying. I get a lot done. So I'm trying to fly more and more. Here's something I discovered in my research, which is only recent. So Edison and Einstein would leverage their theta waves, they're called. So it's actually like if you're feeling a little bit tired right now, maybe not because you just had coffee or you had lunch, anyways, not too long ago, you can actually leverage those moments. Again, it's because you're super relaxed, and then the brain's actually able to release some ideas, some insights, that kind of thing. So it's almost converse to what we've been led to believe, is that, you know, you need to be sitting there, you need to like be really conscious and, you know, really focus some effort on that task. All right, so the last step is, I mean, entrepreneurs, they need to make a lot of decisions, and they need to trust their decisions, and it's a matter of following through on them, even if they don't have all the information that they need or that information is perfect, okay? So what will happen when you are receiving through your intuitive channel, because it's your truth, that information will actually be reliable information for you to use. And the same is true with your collaborator. And you can actually train your collaborator or the person you're negotiating with or whatever the task at hand to do the same thing. So one of the recent presentations I had, the person said, there's a bunch of facility managers. I was speaking in Denver last week, and he said, what is it like to be an entrepreneur? And I said, I don't know any different. I said, I've been working since I was 9 years old. So I said, I'm just being myself. And so this is what the whole point of this is. Whether you're negotiating or innovating, you're actually just being yourself. You're just using you as a tool. Okay, so I don't know how much, because I'm so in the moment, I'm not sure how much time I have here, but my favorite part are the questions, because I am so pragmatic, and I want to make sure that you walk away with an answer to whatever might be at the tip of your tongue.
While the audience collects their thoughts and comes up with a couple of questions for Monique, I have one for you, Monique.
Excellent.
And it might be a bit left field.
Okay, sounds good.
Most of the entrepreneurs here are of a slightly older generation.
Right.
We're struggling to navigate this VUCA world.
Right.
But many of us in the audience perhaps have kids.
Right.
What advice would you suggest to them that they can give their kids to navigate this VUCA world?
I think the best way to change people's behavior is actually to lead by example. To tell other people what to do, like we were talking earlier, presentations about reading a book. I mean, that's an example of how can you be like them, more like your kids. One of my questions last week was, what book would you recommend? And I said, I wouldn't. I said, well, if I have to answer that question, I said, that book is you. I said, you need to know yourself inside out. So that means, yes, meditation, mindfulness. And I said, that could be the most interesting book that you ever read. So I think you really need to become more like your kids in that way, but choose something that actually motivates you so you're not begrudging the situation. And that'll allow you to feel more with it, so to speak.
Awesome. I mean, we've got to adapt to their needs. Super, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone from the audience? Questions for Monique? There's a lady at the back.
Don't be scared. I've worked in the technology sector. I mean, I've been with Entrust, which is security software, and I'm used to moving very quickly through positions in companies. I worked with over 30 different companies. I just get things really fast and contribute fast and very entrepreneurial with whatever I do.
Okay, so I remember you mentioned how you specialize in negotiating and innovation.
Right.
So my question is, how exactly can we negotiate with our customers, with our clientele, especially in the VUCA climate and as entrepreneurs?
Right. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you for that. So usually you can tell what the other person's intuitive channel is by listening to the words. Okay. One woman I was speaking with this morning used the word carve. We were talking about, you can custom design your own life. And her word was carve. And I said, remember that when you come and listen to me. There you go. So what it means is that person is more kinesthetic, more hands-on. So they could be physically and or emotionally attuned. And usually you attract like people or people who really compliment you. Now, in collaborations, you want to have people who compliment you, who are not going to be exactly the same as you, right? So you want to be looking for an intuitive channel which is going to be different from yours. So that's the thing, is you need to go pick up their word, and even if you can't spot it, right? If you're confused, to say, you know what, in the interest of authentic communication, I would love to know, what's your favorite word? Do you tend to use think or feel or sense or that kind of thing? So then that will tell you what they actually value, okay? Are they coming mostly from the head? Are they coming mostly from the heart? Do they make decisions a lot from their gut? Because you can, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, dictates that you can start to align with them. It's a way of developing rapport and start using their word. I personally don't believe that, but you can. I'm true to myself, so I use my own words, but I note it in my head, right, what it is that they're using. And from that point on, you'll know. So let's say that they're big into, they're very hands-on, right? And it could be like so it's the thinking, the auditory, and so they're feelers. So more than likely, they make emotion-based decisions. And so you really need to focus on find out what is actually important to them on a feeling level, right? Maybe it has to do with happiness. Maybe happiness is important in terms of the product you're talking about, okay? So it's actually bringing you closer to the value, their highest priority values. So I always try to find out what's the top 3 priorities, whether they're values or there's something else. If you look in hindsight at negotiations, so I had stayed at this gorgeous place. It's north of Montreal. It's in the mountains. And I stayed there for a month, and it was just very luxurious in terms of space and where I stayed, the condo and the countryside. Long story short, I said to the woman, I'd like to stay for longer next year. And so she was actually moving about, and she's a person who doesn't stay put. And she said, well, I'm lousy at negotiating. And I said, okay, good, that means I'll do well. I was just kidding, of course. And then she divulged what she had done in her last negotiation. She had actually given more money than she needed to. And her husband was like, don't do that. We're trying to buy this car. You're supposed to go under the price. But anyways, that wasn't the whole point of the exercise. But what I found out, just from watching her behavior, I knew I needed to move fast. So all my communication was around efficiency, right? So I would send her some stuff on Facebook. I knew that she was a Facebook person, not a LinkedIn person. And then I even said, could we have a quick call? Then I tuned into myself and I thought, even though she's making herself available, I'm not feeling like she's ready. So what I did is I sent the offer to her and I said, what do you think? I'm open to discussing this further. And at 12:30 that night, after midnight, she said, it's a deal. She emailed me, it's a deal, with a happy face. So it really has to do with knowing yourself, what you want, what the other person wants, and even being transparent about it if you have to and asking the questions.
Great. Thank you, Monique. We're running behind schedule, so we're going to have to call it a wrap. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Monique. Thank you very much.
Thank you.